Hi, I'm Lori Grunin, Senior Editor with CNET, and this is the Panasonic Lumix DMC G10. Panasonic's entry-level interchangeable lens model, the Lumix G10 is a moderately defeatured version of its big brother, the G2. Based around the same micro four thirds standard 12 megapixel sensor and lens mount, the G10 is a solid ILC model, but one that has a few weaknesses compared with similarly priced competitors. The displays seem to be where Panasonic cut corners to get the G10's price down. It has a fixed instead of articulated LCD, though that's par for the course for the entry-level models. But the company also went with a low-resolution, low-magnification EVF. When I first picked up the G10 to shoot, my initial response was, ugh. Not only did it look coarse and small, but the eye cup felt uncomfortably rigid. I subsequently got used to it and found it about adequate for manual focus, but it's probably the worst of the interchangeable lens models. Still, it's better than some of the EVFs I've seen on megazoom cameras, and it's certainly better than nothing at all. Overall, the G10 has intelligently laid out and easy to understand controls that will likely be understood by anyone who's used a relatively sophisticated compact camera, off auto, of course. Though a few of the buttons and controls are different, the G10 uses basically the same body and layout as the G2 and the earlier G1. I like the overall design, and it's solidly constructed and comfortable to grip and shoot, even one-handed with a heavyish lens. One of my least favorite changes between the G1 and its successors is the relocation of the SD slot from the grip to the battery compartment. Yes, it's a very common location in point-and-shoots and the Olympus ILC models, but it's annoying if you use a tripod, and it's awkward if you take the card out frequently. More than any other manufacturer, Panasonic's models retain a plethora of direct access controls. You've got the focus mode options on a small dial at the top left of the body, while the drive modes are switch selectable on the top right. The mode dial contains the usual suspects, including a custom setting slot which holds 3 sets. I do miss the dedicated movie record button that's on the G2, but otherwise the mode dial and drive mode options, as well as the dedicated intelligent auto button, are identical to the G2. You have less manual control during movie capture than with the G2, just a limited ability to change shutter speed, which requires a slog through the manual to find. The jog dial, which could really use a label for better discoverability, controls exposure compensation, aperture, and shutter speed. The quick menu button brings up the interactive display for adjusting the most commonly used shooting settings, plus some not so frequently used ones. ISO sensitivity, white balance, and autofocus mode all have dedicated buttons on the 4-way navigation, while the fourth, the function button, can be programmed to directly pull up settings for film mode, aspect ratio, quality, metering, intelligent resolution, etc. You rarely need to go into the menu system, but my one frustration with its design is that instead of letting you create a custom menu of potentially frequently needed options, such as format or monitor brightness, it simply lists the most recently accessed options. Unsurprisingly, given its similar innards, the G10's photo quality is about the same as the G2's. Panasonic manages to produce exceptionally bright, saturated colors without significantly shifting the hues. The kit lens has some distortion at its widest, but not a lot, is fairly sharp, and only displays fringing on extreme conditions. There's almost no distortion for the telephoto lens at 40 millimeters. If Panasonic's performing in-camera distortion control, it's doing a very good job. But the photos are also pretty noisy. Panasonic's aggressive default noise reduction can smear detail and introduce annoying patterns in JPEGs. Videos look reasonably good, though they use the inefficient motion JPEG codec, and it has a mono microphone. The $200 price difference between the G2 and G10 will probably shrink as the months go on, and I think it's worth paying a little extra for the better EVF, articulated display, and better video capabilities of the G2, even if you're not into touchscreens. How the G10 stacks up to its competition depends upon your priorities. It's the speed king with the best design for manually oriented shooters, but its image quality lags the field. I'm Lori Grunin, and this is the Panasonic Lumix DMC G10.